Hello, dear friends, with you Naya. In this video, I continue to introduce you to the mods of MrCrayfish, aka Mr. Langusta, if you translate his nickname into Russian. Last time we looked at the mod on his typewriter. If you haven't seen it, follow the pop-up link. I highly recommend it. Cool mod. Well, today we will consider something else from the same developer. This modic is not very big, but it is very interesting, and will especially appeal to those players who make assemblies on modern themes, the military, the zombie apocalypse, and everything in that spirit. After all, this mod adds various weapons. It is called MrCrayfish Gun Mod, and is suitable for Minecraft versions 1.12.2 and 1.15.2. By the way, as well as for all the mods of Mr. Langusta, this mod also requires the installation of an auxiliary Obfuscate mod, so don't forget to install it so that you don't write Nayashka later. But why doesn't the mod work for me? There are differences in fashion for the 12th and 15th versions, but they are insignificant. So I'm basically going to consider the mod on the newest version of the main, namely 1.15.2. But don't worry, for version 1.12.2, and this reviewer is also relevant, because I will also show you the difference between the mechanics of the old version and the new one. At the moment, there are 9 types of weapons in fashion. These are a pistol, a shotgun, a grenade launcher, a bazooka, a Gatling machine gun, an assault rifle, a submachine gun, and a large caliber rifle. He, by the way, is not on the mod versions for 1.12.2. There are also 2 types of grenades, several improvements to weapons, and 4 types of ammunition. All things in fashion are crafted on a special workbench. His craft is like this gray concrete and a few ingots of iron. We put the workbench where it is convenient for us, click on it with the right mouse button, and see that the interface is very similar to the very workbench where we were crafting cars. You can also use the arrows to select the item that you want to craft. A list of resources required for crafting is displayed on the side. By checking this box, only the resources that are missing will be displayed in the list. Let's start by crafting this pistol. To craft it, you only need 14 bars of iron. But a gray gun is very boring. Let's make a cool black one. We put black dye in the paint slot, but nothing happens. The weapon does not seem to have changed color. Well, don't worry. When you press this button, you will get a ready-made gun, painted with the dye that you wanted. Look, how do I look like a clear-cut girl with a black trunk? Naturally, the weapon is being crafted without ammunition, so the cartridges will have to be crafted separately. The pistol uses ordinary bullets, so we choose them. Here they are. Crafting 32 pieces requires 1 gunpowder and 8 drops of iron. In my opinion, absolutely inexpensive craft. By the way, you won't be able to paint ammunition, so don't waste dye on them, because when you try to craft multicolored cartridges, the dye is spent, but the painting does not happen. Such a sad thing. It will not work to make nice purple cartridges. The same applies to grenades. By the way, if you don't like the color of your weapon, then you can always change it in a regular workbench by folding your item with dyes. When painting, the same system works as it was with car wheels. You are not limited to vanilla colors, but you can freely combine them at your discretion. So, we have crafted the cartridges. Let's check the weapons now. In order to charge it, take the weapon in your hand and press the default English Russian K. There is an animation of charging. The scale on the icon is filled with blue color and then disappears altogether, and that means the gun is fully loaded. It's time to go to the shooting range. You can shoot weapons in 2 modes: aiming and as if from the hip without aiming. Those of you who play a lot of shooting games may be able to hit the target without aiming, but it seems to me that for more accurate shooting, it is better to aim, especially if every cartridge counts. Press the right mouse button and pull the gun in front of you. The cross disappears from the screen, so now you need to aim at the upper edge of the front sight. Aiming allows you to control the mouse cursor more smoothly and aim at the target more accurately. Unfortunately, bazooka submachine guns do not have animation and aiming on the side view. That is, it will not work to see how your friend raises a weapon in his hand, but it is present in other weapons and looks very beautiful. I also noticed that bullets can break glass, so you can use glass panels and blocks as targets for target practice. By the way, if you need to discharge your weapon for some reason, then just click the English Y, Russian G, and the cartridges will return to your inventory before proceeding to a detailed inspection of all types of weapons. Let's first get acquainted with the improvements that can be installed on them. The first one is a silencer. Its main function is to make the sound of the shot a little quieter. Here's a comparison. So the gun shoots without a silencer, but so with a silencer. Did you hear the difference? I think this can be useful except in multiplayer, because the mob in Minecraft is still allowed shot, or a quiet one. By the way, the silencer has a small drawback. When you put it on, the weapon will deal 25% less damage than the same weapon, but without a silencer. Then, there are 3 types of optical sights: short, medium, and long. All their difference lies in the power of approximation. See for yourself. It brings the short sight closer. There is almost no difference with conventional weapons without a sight, so we can say that it is practically useless. The average sight brings it closer, and with it you can aim quite distant targets. Well, the long sight is the coolest. It has the largest approximation, and if you have a powerful enough computer, and you can put the drawing of chunks as large as possible, you can kill opponents at very long distances. There I see one enemy approaching us. Let's destroy it. Bam! And there is no problem. By the way, how improvements are put on weapons. Here there is a difference between the 12th and 15th versions of the main. On older versions of the game, those for Minecraft 1.12.2, improvements were left with the help of crafting cells on the workbench or in the inventory. It does not matter. Just lay down the weapons that you want to improve, and, for example, a long sight. That's it. You get a rifle with a sniper scope. You can't put 2 upgrades at once. You need to take turns. They put the sight first, then added another silencer. But with the removal of improvements, there is a problem, since it is possible to replace one sight with another, but it does not work at all to remove it. On version 1.15.2, there is no such problem anymore. Here the improvement is put by pressing the button English Z, Russian I. A window pops up showing the weapon that you want to upgrade, and 2 cells, the upper one for the sight, the lower one for the silencer. Just put the necessary upgrade in the cell, and close the menu. That's it, the weapon has been improved. To remove it, simply remove the sight from the cell, or change it to another one. Everything is simple and convenient. By the way, in this window you can move the weapon, and take a good look. This is done using the mouse buttons. Move the object with the left, and rotate it with the right. Well, we've sorted out the upgrades. It's time to look at the rest of the arsenal of weapons. We have already considered the pistol. I will only say that it is an average weapon in fashion in terms of power. It deals 10 damage units in one shot. That is, it removes 4.5 hearts, has a clip for 15 rounds, and shoots single shots. With a silencer installed, the damage drops to 3.5 hearts. You can install sights. They use ordinary cartridges. Next comes the shotgun. He shoots special red cartridges filled with shot. It has a warhead of 4 rounds and both sights, and a silencer can be installed on it. Deals quite a lot of damage, 15 units, that is 7.5 hearts, but only at close range. The further away the enemy is, the less damage will be inflicted on him, and this is logical, because the fraction is scattered, which means that the further the distance, the fewer pellets will hit the target. Shotgun or rifle uses advanced ammunition. Deals huge damage, as many as 20 units. That is, he takes about 9.5–10 hearts. It can be upgraded with a silencer and sights, but it only fires single shots, and reloading takes quite a long time. Next comes the bazooka. As you might guess, it shoots missiles. Deals almost the biggest damage of 25 units, and leaves a huge hole after the shot. It even penetrates a stone. The only thing that can't undermine is obsidian, and of course bedrock. By the way, it will not be possible to improve it, since neither a silencer nor sights can be put on it. By the way, it is already equipped with a short sight by default. The assault rifle has a fairly low damage, only 7 units, that is, 3.5 hearts per shot, but it has quite a decent rate of fire and a stock of cartridges as many as 60 pieces. They use conventional ammunition, and it can be fitted with both a silencer and any sight. In my opinion, a very good weapon for a quick sweep of the territory from evil mobs. A submachine gun is a small rapid-fire weapon. It shoots ordinary bullets, has a damage of 5 units, and ammunition of 40 cartridges. Crafting is quite cheap, only 20 bars of iron, but in my opinion, it's better to dig up a little and craft a better weapon. For example, the same assault rifle or Gatling machine gun. At least he has a little less damage, only 4 units, but he has 100 rounds of ammunition, and he looks very impressive. By the way, neither sights nor silencers can be hung on it either. I think this is quite reasonable, because how can you drown out such a monster? And he doesn't need sights at all. Having such a monstrous rate of fire, we just shoot approximately into the area where the monsters are hiding, and the bullets will hit somewhere. But if you feel sorry to waste a lot of resources on random shooting, and you save every cartridge, then you just need a large caliber rifle. It deals the biggest damage per shot, as much as 30 units. That is, it can destroy almost any vanilla mob with 1 shot. True, the ammunition is small, only 4 rounds, and the reloading is very long, but you can put on a silencer with an optical sight and shoot enemies at a great distance, so they won't even have time to notice you, let alone get closer. By the way, the advanced cartridges that this rifle uses are only a little more expensive to craft than ordinary ones, but because of much more damage, they will be spent much less. So in my opinion, this is the most profitable weapon in fashion. Although I like the machine gun better. It looks cooler, it has a cool animation of barrel promotion, just like a real Gatling machine gun, and it doesn't have to be aimed accurately with it. But there is another weapon in fashion, which I specifically left for last, because there is one problem associated with it, and this is a grenade launcher. No, it works fine by itself. Hand grenades are used as ammunition, and according to the developer of the mod, it should cause damage of 15 units. Everything would be fine, and he still seems to cause damage to the mob. Well, for some reason, these explosions do not affect the players. Moreover, they do not work only on the 15th version of the main. On 1.12.2, everything works fine. This problem concerns hand grenades. By the way, for those who don't know how to throw grenades, I'm telling you, hold down the right mouse button, wait until the swing happens, and release the button. The grenade flies away into the distance. If you just right-click the mouse, then there will be no swing, and the grenade will fall right under your feet. Be careful! So, on the 15th version of the lane, an ordinary grenade is not particularly dangerous. Even if it explodes right under your feet, nothing terrible will happen. On the 12th version, the grenades explode as they should. And they don't just explode, but they spread everything around, just like a rocket from a bazooka. Well, okay, maybe it's a tank, and it will be corrected in the future. Thus, we smoothly moved to the latest category of weapons in fashion. These are grenades. There are 2 types of them here. An ordinary grenade, which I have already shown you, explodes quite strongly, deals 15 units of damage, and destroys everything in its path. And there is also a stun grenade. It doesn't do any damage at all, but it produces a flash of bright light that blinds you for a few seconds, so it's impossible to see anything. And in addition, it also deafens, so that apart from ringing in your ears, you are not able to hear anything else. If you are going to use such a grenade, then I advise you to turn away immediately after the throw or hide behind a corner. The main thing is not to look at the explosion, so you will avoid the effect of blinding. It will still be in my ears. It can only be avoided by being at a fairly decent distance. By the way, the blinding effect only works up close, so if you saw an explosion at a sufficient distance, it will not lead to blinding. The mod has a fairly flexible system of parameter settings, but again, this only applies to the 12th version. I didn't find such a mood for 1.15.2. We go here, mod options. Then we find the GAN mod we are interested in the list. Click Configuration Server. A large list of subsections opens up to us with the ability to change them. In particular, this one refers to stun grenades. And here, we can set parameters related to blinding and stunning. For example, the volume and duration of tinnitus and so on. You can click it yourself, change the parameters, and see what happens. After making the changes, do not forget to click on Done, so that the new parameters are saved. By the way, I almost forgot, but better late than never, the weapon from the fashion of Mr. Langusta has an interesting feature. If you take it in your left hand, it will be displayed behind your back at the ready, or on your belt, if it's a gun. It looks really cool. Well, that's all about the fashion 4 weapons from Mr. Langusta. Personally, I really like this mod. He approaches all his creations with great love and pays great attention to even the most insignificant details. That's why all of his mods look so beautiful and work very well. Buggies, of course, are also present, but they are in any fashion. It is impossible to predict all the moments. The main thing is that they are fixed in the future. But as for which version of the mod I like the most, I even find it difficult to answer. Each of them has its advantages and disadvantages. For example, in the 12th, I liked the models of weapons, and especially ammunition much more. The cartridges there really look like cartridges, unlike the 15th version, where they look just like rectangles. The gunshots on the 12th version are more colorful. Just look at how the machine gun shoots. But on the 15th, it looks somehow flawed. The light is very small, not so bright. The same applies to explosions. On Pyotnak, the grenade does not even explode normally, but on the other hand, the system of changing upgrades for weapons is much better developed for 1.15.2. By the way, in both versions, holes remain on the blocks from being hit by bullets. I haven't seen this in any other weapon fashion yet, and it's really great. Well, this is probably the end of the review of the fashion MrCrayfish's GAN mod. Write your opinion about this mod, which version you like the most, and which weapons you use more often. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet, because we will have a lot more interesting reviews. Of course, put your finger up, because I tried. And see you soon, dear friends. Bye-bye.